This is just a short presentation on how to do amikacin therapeutic drug monitoring using Precision PK dosing software. So if you log into www.precisionpk.net, you will end up on this screen. If you click this button, you'll end up logging in. And if you log in, just please use Google. That's the only function that really works well. And then once you're inside, you will see the actual system. So you only need to log in once. So let's use the system to do therapeutic monitoring for amikacin. Select amikacin. Importantly, of course, you have to select your route. Let's say we have a patient who's 144 kilograms. Of course, let's make it difficult. Forget about the renal advisor for the moment. Functionality is not perfected yet. Let's say our patient's got a dose. Let's make it yesterday morning. So yesterday morning, meaning the 2nd of March. And let's say the dose was 2 grams. Let's say the infusion time was 20 minutes or 15 minutes, like this, something of the sort. And then we did levels, and we did our first level, let's say on the 2nd, we did it around 1700 or 1600. So at that time, the level should be about 8. I'm imagining some, and it won't be perfect. But the idea is to show you how you can use this tool to do therapeutic drug monitoring. Now, since we've entered everything, we can run a Bayesian fit. And we see that if our patient ended up with level of 8, that means he's clearing it much slower than the population. So let's see if we can even reach that level of clearance. And yeah, it's quite possible. So it's possible you reach the level of clearance if your clearance is much slower. So if your patient has renal failure, it makes sense. It's a possibility. If we change the volume of distribution, yeah, we can also end up getting there. So it's important to realize your patient either it's an important estimation that you'll have to make. You'll have to estimate which side of the volume your patient ends up on. Is your patient more edematous, less edematous? You can use the albumin level to kind of help you and derive which side of the curve you would fall. But of course, you only have one level here. If you added a second level, you can increase your confidence. So let's say we have another level, and we take a level at more or less 9 o'clock on the 2nd of March. So let's add another level. And we're going to take it at 9 o'clock on the 2nd of March. And where should we aim for? It has to be lower. So let's say we got the level of around 2 or 2.3. Let's make it 2.3. Typically around the cutoff value for some tests. And let's run off it again. Now, let's see. How will we actually get there? Well, that looks quite possible. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is that if you don't have full confidence in only one level, or you can't really decide, adding another level somewhere along the line will help you get some more confidence. And why do we want to find our exact fit here? It's because we want to see if we can get to an ideal peak and trough level. So let's say we want to infuse a patient over 20 minutes, and let's say we want a peak of 60 and we want a trough of 3. Ideally, a trough should be like 0.5, so you can stay under the level of 1, so you can have the drug-free period. But let's say you want to just, these are your targets, for whatever reason. You could have your own reasons. And we want to just establish how that regimen would look. So for our patient, that regimen would probably need 2,300 milligrams every 16 hours. Now, what you can do is you can change the dosage, and you can still then end up doing your therapeutic drug monitoring, taking levels, and you can see if they correspond with the patient you've actually created here. Anyways, that gives you a good idea of how to use this program, but it's not done there. We can still download the report. So if you download the report, you'll get an HTML file getting downloaded. Just save that. And then this file gives you a good idea more or less where your patient should end up. So if you follow this dosage regime, you have to realize that you aim for a higher trough, so you won't have a drug-free period. If you want the drug-free period, you'll have to do something like this. It'll have to be a level of, you'll have to search for a level of about 0.5. Now, the moment you do that, the functions will change completely. And suddenly, you'll have 2,400 milligrams every 24 hours, which seems more reasonable and more closer to what, let's say, the evidence suggests. But in my mind, it really depends on your specific scenario. And if you download this report will actually now be different from the previous one. So you can then get different idea of how to dose your patient. And there's a few options here. So you can see which option best fits you. You've got your predicted trough values here. And of course, remember, you do more levels. If you do more levels, you get confluence. And the confluence tells you this, you can be confident in the dosing parameters that have been set forward here. All of this is quite transparent, so you can run through the actual methodology and how this dose is calculated. And of course, you can save this and print it out and say put it next to the patient bedside. There's specific monitoring, drug safety monitoring, let's call it information that's linked to each drug, so you can just have a look through those. It's typically just to kind of ensure that most of the vital things aren't missed. There's some references here that kind of give you an idea where we pulled the information from to create this database and the source. And then hopefully from there, you have a good idea on how to use therapeutic drug monitoring to actually get to a new dosage for your patient, and how to use this tool to manipulate dosages to get to the serum concentrations that you actually desire.